Shangri-La Frontier has brought some pretty insane units. For this to be our, what is this? Second? Third? Hold on, wait. Overlord, Fate, Hell's Paradise, Shangri-La Frontier. Yep. Fourth Ascended crossover. It has brought some amazing characters like Sunraku, Saiger, and even the newest one to just be added to Grand Summoners Global, Arthur. Arthur is quite a menace, and for a lot of people, this is one of their most sought after units for a multitude of different reasons. So in this video, we're going to break her down, tell you what's good about her, tell you what's bad about her, and of course, show you some gameplay and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, and before we get into it, huge shout out to my man Barrett for allowing me to do this showcase. Without him, it wouldn't be possible. So Arthur is all about supporting the team, breaking enemies, and actually dealing quite a bit of damage, depending on how you choose to utilize the kit. As you see with her abilities here, she has one major one, which is Giant Killer. This makes all of your physical equips instantly reset on your break, which enables certain compositions to break loop certain bosses, which is insane. In terms of the kit, she has a skill that's able to arch gen for 10 seconds. This is 40 arc gauge in total. With the art, you have a break res down of 40%. The true art, this is where you're going to be arch genning while also reducing the enemy's dark res by 80%. The arch gen on this is type F, meaning that she can practically stack with every single arch genner in the game, apart from type F arch genners. And as for the super art, this is where I was telling you earlier, depending on how you utilize the kit, depends on if she's going to do a lot of break or a lot of extra damage. If you decide to use her art right before using her super art, she will increase her own break power by 150% during her super art. If you decide to use your true art before using your super art, you will instead increase your own damage during this super art by 300%. The modifier on this thing is 130,000, which may not sound too crazy, but whenever you have a 300% damage buff tied to it at base value, that's going to deal some deeps. Not only that, buffing up your break value by 150% when it's already at 12,000 is ridiculous. Also, another good thing about her is that you'll see in the animations, her super art lasts for quite a long time, so it can do tons and tons of break damage. In terms of her slots, she has a 5-star physical, 5-star support, and a 4-star magic. For 5-star physical, there's a lot of different options here. If you're using her in sustain, of course going some type of arch gen item is always good. Or if you want to use her as more of your breaker, using something that's going to be buffing up your break power or dealing lots of break damage will also be good in this slot. If you decide to nuke with her though, which I don't think she's that good at nuking since you have to use your true art to get the extra damage buff on the super art, but if you decide to do it, then A, by all means, just use something that's going to be giving you some extra damage like the God Sword Ashura or something. For the 5-star support, AoE arch gen items here, you can look at stuff like Melty's dress, Malim's clothes, you know, the whole 9 yards. Pretty much any AoE arch gen item you can slot into that 5-star support slot. Or if you don't have any AoE arch gen items, highly recommend using something like Lesser Demon Heart or the Sealed Mask from the Tensura event. For the 4-star magic, really just use whatever you want to here. In terms of the crest slots on this character, since she is a breaker, she's a damage dealer too, I highly recommend actually going with attack up or break power up. You could go with both. And then as for another crest that you could slot in on this character, I would highly recommend going maybe arc gauge up just to kind of help jumpstart her a little bit in the very beginning so she can get into her arch gen even quicker. And then I guess if you want to, you could also use equipment CT on this character since she does have that support slot and the physical slot. You're going to want those break equips to be up all the time if you're using her as a breaker. So equip CT wouldn't be too bad. Let me show you what these animations are all about. Huge shout out to my man Barrett for sending these to me. But as you see here, we have the attack skill, which is just some pokes. We have the skill here, which is also just some more pokes pretty much. We have the art, which is somewhat fast, but you know, does take a little bit longer. She does get kind of locked in that animation at the end. The true art, very quick. You look at that first little hit right there. This actually applies dark res down as soon as that first hit goes off. Then we have the super art, which this seems like to last forever. So that first initial line that you saw, this initial line is the start of all your damage. Like as soon as you see that thing go across the screen, you can't really go frame by frame on Discord, but that initial line that you saw, that is where your damage starts and your breaking starts. And then the rest of this, all of this extra effects are all extra hits and all extra break damage on the enemy. So yeah, overall animation wise, like gameplay, you know, very, very good. If we're taking into account just like gameplay usability and all that, animations are top notch. However, in just like terms of like how it looks, I think the super art definitely looks cool, but for the most part, she's just mainly poking around with her stick, and I don't think like they're anything crazy, so I'm gonna give them like a 5. First thing we went up against is the newest boss fight in the main story of GS. We've done this a few times on the channel, but I really think it's just overall a really good fight, especially to show off a character. And the team we actually went with was the Shiro Emiya, the Haruto, Arthur, and the boy Ainz. I wanted Ainz specifically so he can buff up Arthur's damage a little bit more, but as you see here, we are dealing crazy amounts of DPS. We don't really need to break this boss at all. There's no point in doing that. So I'm mainly utilizing the true art and the super art in this fight, which that's one thing that you need to keep in mind when you're using Arthur. You got to kind of think ahead as to when you want to use your super art or what you're going to be using your super art for in a specific fight. If you need it for the break value, then you need to make sure that you use your art before you go into that super art. Or if you need it for the extra damage, you need to make sure to use your true art before that super art. The way how I usually did it to always kind of make sure that my team was getting the support they needed is I would first start off with the true art and then get the art gauge going for everybody. And if I wanted to go straight into the super art, I could. But if I wanted to go into the break, then I would use the art right after using the true art and then go into the super art. The duration on that true art is quite lengthy, so you don't really have to worry about it ever like falling off. And yeah, this fight went relatively well. She actually dealt a lot of damage and overall performed really good here. If you look at the damage charts right here, as you see, Arthur actually wound up hitting for 20 million pretty much. No crest on this character, and there's no Tasmons. Yeah, Barrett just didn't have any Tasmons on his Arthur. So that's really good. It's just like pretty much base stats. That is insane. As for the next thing we did, I wanted to really utilize her break values. So I took her up against the Emperor fight. The Emperor fight, a little bit challenging, right? It's a little bit of an older fight, but you have to break this boss before you can do any kind of major DPS to him, and that's exactly what we did. As you see, I apply that same philosophy that I did before. I wait till I am able to go into the true art. I use the true art with Arthur, and then I'm going to use the art and then finish off with the super art once I get to it. I really like how versatile she is, where you can kind of pick exactly what you want to do. It's insane. I really love it whenever characters do that and they have like more usability in their kit apart from just, okay, I only do this and that's it. As you see, whenever you use her super art, the break value is going to get absolutely diminished. Like, watch this. Like, it is ridiculous how much damage we actually do. That thing is just getting chunked out. Well, it's stopping because I'm using my true art and stuff, but look at that. That thing is getting chunked. That is one super art from Arthur. That is wild. Considering the fact too, you could use other characters in the game that buff this up further, like Chloe for an example, so you get even more break power on it, or you use equips that give you more break power. Like, you know, it was looking pretty good as a breaker. But the rest of this fight went relatively smoothly, just constantly kept hitting Emperor and wound up beating this man to the ground. And if we actually look at the damage charts here, Shiro Emiya dealing the most damage this time, Arthur following behind it. I should have checked the break values. I didn't check the break values. That's what I should have done. And the last thing we did was just fight Emmy. I mean, it's usually the best way to just show off a unit, kind of finish it all off. And overall, Arthur is insane. This character has so much going for her. Amazing arch gen. She can literally stack with everybody in the game. She has amazing break or damage depending on how you set her up. There's not a single piece of content where you'll be like, oh, okay, there's no reason to use Arthur. And not only this, she also enables break looping in specific team comps if you are able to do that. She doesn't rely on you to break loop by any means, but if you want that option against certain fights, you absolutely can do it. Another thing that's really good about Arthur that I haven't seen too many people talk about is that on global, if you use all your luck gems on this character and you farmed out all your luck gems in the crossover shop, you can turn Arthur into a 120 luck unit for free. That is ridiculous. That's absolutely insane that this type of character, this powerhouse, is able to become a 120 luck unit complete for free. It's just going to take you a really long time. There's really no negatives that I have with this character either. She is just absolutely insane in everything that she does. I have a few, I guess, nitpicks to an extent, but they're not even really negatives. Like, one is that her arch gen can fall off if you're below 50% HP. In most content in the game, I would say about 99.9% of content, that does not matter. And then the other one that I have is that she's a dark human, and dark demons are kind of the thing right now. You guys know, like Demon Lord Vox, Ainz, all them. They are like the main hotness for Mono Dark, so I don't really see her fitting into that team too much. But for any other team in the game, she's going to work phenomenally. So overall, I really love this character. I think she's amazing. I think she's really good. Just all around amazing character. They really popped off with her and just made her an extremely good support character and breaker that can be used literally everywhere and with any kind of unit or team comp. It does not matter. She is just an absolute beast. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this girl Arthur. Tell me down below what you guys think about her, if you like her, if you don't, or if you think she's a little bit overhyped. You guys can tell me all that type of stuff down below in the comment section. You already heard my opinions. I would love to hear yours. Of course, thanks again to my man Barrett for allowing me to do this showcase. Huge props to my boy. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, man. Thank you all again for coming out. And last but not least, you guys already know, don't forget to drink water.